Well, good morning, CCU class. How are you? This is Instructor Nate Gustafson, and I am here in my home office. I wanted to put together a brief example of what your final project should look like in terms of putting together a video presentation on Screencast-o-Matic and uploading it to YouTube. I am not, to your dismay probably, I'm not going to go through the ethics assignment, but I'm going to share a little bit of a PowerPoint presentation that I used to teach some of my chaplaincy folks and some of my hospice volunteers about listening. And so you can see on your screen, hopefully you can see me in the corner. You've got kind of a waist-up view of me. I'm sitting down just because that's easier for this webcam setup. You can be standing up, you can be sitting down. I just need to be able to see most of you in the screen. I need to be able to see your hand movements. I need to be able to see you looking straight ahead as well as looking as if there's an audience in front of you, and be able to see your screen with a quality PowerPoint presentation. So let me just get you started here. This is a presentation on Soul Symphony, 7 Movements of Listening to the Story. This is an advanced training resource for anyone who wants to increase their ability to listen well, to connect deeply with folks who are in distress and need. And if you want to see the entire presentation, I'll probably have this uploaded to my YouTube channel, and I'll send out the link to that so you all can see that. So what is the foundation of listening? This is my opening screen. For those of you that are doing your ethics presentation, it would probably be good to do an intro screen that details what exactly you'll be covering in your presentation. And I encourage you to don't get too concerned with the fancy fonts and the crazy backgrounds, but be concerned with something that's readable and clear and not too much information on the PowerPoint slide. PowerPoints are meant to be bullet points and meant to be big ideas. In the notes section of your PowerPoint presentation, you can go into greater detail. You can give your references. You can even script out your presentation if you'd like in the notes section of your PowerPoint. But what I should see on the screen as you use good gestures, as you project your voice, what I should see on the screen is something clear with bullet points. So for me in this presentation on listening skills, I make 5 bullet points at the beginning here. Are we born good listeners, or do we learn to listen? Neil Pembroke, in his book, The Art of Listening, asks the question, what is foundational in the ministry of care? And he would point out that what's foundational is deep receptivity. He'd point out that empathy, meaning that I care and I somewhat understand your pain, or I can see that you are in pain and I feel that pain with you. And he would also say that compassion, literally to care with all of your guts, is key to the foundation of listening. So what are the mechanics of good listening? And this is a type of screen you can use just to give a big idea, and then you and your recording and your presentation can talk through some of the points that you want to make. So mechanics of good listening would be eye contact, would be leaning in, squarely facing the person that you're trying to listen to. It would be active listening skills, such as rephrasing what they're telling you, asking clarifying questions. Things like that would be good mechanics of listening, much like a good mechanic doesn't even have to think sometimes about how to check your oil, how to check your tire pressure, how to look at your brakes to see if they're grinding or not. So in my training, we always talked about the 3-part harmony of listening. And for you CCU students, this is an example of a PowerPoint slide where you can use columns to make your case. You can also use transitions. So 3-part harmony of listening includes listening with your hands. And I made it so that that just drops in like that. And here's the content of what it looks like to listen with your hands. You want to get your hands on the person's story. You want to ask the questions like a good journalist would, the 5 W's and the H. So who, what, when, where, why, and how. The hands of the story, it's the content. You want to get a hold of the facts, the figures. You want to be Detective Joe Friday and jump in there and figure out what's really going on. You want to practice the good mechanics of listening by actively listening, paraphrasing, and asking clarifying questions. Listening with your head. That's your curiosity. That's inside your mind as you're listening to this story unfold and you're getting a hold of the content and the facts of the story. You're asking why? What is going on in this person's life and their story that I need to understand? What's their emotion? A person can say, I love green beans. Or they can say, I love green beans. Or they, with tears in their eyes, as if a giant green bean monster has taken away their favorite stuffed animal, they could say, I love green beans. All three of those are examples of ways that we listen. And we don't necessarily listen to the words that that person is telling us, but we listen to the emotion and the nonverbal cues behind what they're saying. So we want to tune into ask the question, what do you mean by that? And what is this like for you that the giant green bean monster came and stole your favorite teddy bear? And then finally, the third part of the three-part harmony of listening is listening with your heart. That's really getting in tune to the deeper meaning behind the story. And with this, we listen for the metaphors, we listen for the images, and we try to discover what are the hidden meanings behind this message. What's the unconscious thoughts that are surfacing? And then how do we interpret the story? What is really the ultimate meaning behind what they're telling me? Especially if someone says to me, I just want to go home. Do they mean that they're bored with you and they don't like spending time in your company and they'd rather go sit on the couch and watch reruns of Oprah? Or is this person on their deathbed saying, I just want to go home, meaning that they just want to go home and be with Jesus? Those are two completely different meanings behind the same phrase, I want to go home. So class, as you can see, I use all sorts of different slides. I use big headings. I use bullet points. I don't try to write out everything that I need to say on my PowerPoint slide. And I would use the notes section as well to give details of who you're using for your references, or you can put the reference in smaller type underneath here. I didn't do a full APA reference because I wasn't doing this for an APA class, but I used it just to show that these ideas are not my own. I borrowed them from Dr. Carrie Doring in her book, The Practice of Pastoral Care. So I will be sending out a message to you all with this and encouraging you all to look at this video. Please reach out to me with any questions or concerns as you put together your final presentation. Thank you for listening. This was 7 movements of listening. And if you have any other questions, just let me know.